Let me click it.
Mics are on. And the meeting's recording.
Welcome. At 6 o'clock, I'd like to bring this meeting of the Sunnyside Industrial Development Corporation special meeting to order. We have a special guest in the audience, Jay from the Sunnyside Port Authority. If you could come up and introduce yourself, let us know what this meeting is about.
Jay Hester, I'm the Executive Director for the Port of Sunnyside. The Industrial Development Corporation is a joint venture between the Port of Sunnyside and the City of Sunnyside to allow the issuance of debt for services to liquid liability companies for the purchase of business development, real estate. And this allows bonds to be sold in the name through which they're to borrow or build a facility, industrial development in the City of Sunnyside. These bonds and debts can be issued in Yakima County, but with the powers of Sunnyside Port District and the city jointly together can issue these bonds. That's probably the clearest. The RCW you guys would want to refer to if anyone wants to go further into it is RCW 31.24.030, which will clearly state the full disclosure of the indebtedness.
Any questions? Thank you, Jay.
I have a question.
Sure.
How often do you guys meet?
Once a year.
Just once a year?
Correct. As far as I know, the City of Sunnyside nor the port have issued bonds for the Industrial Development Corporation since I've been with the port.
Mr. Chairman, we did meet one year several times when it involved the Ostrom's Mushroom Company coming in. We had to meet several times during the course of that year to get things done and get all the paperwork lined up so that things could move forward. But yeah, most of the time it only meets once a year. First regular meeting of City Council of the year, and then we select our officers and then go from there.
Yeah, and to facilitate the sale of the debt, Ostrom's decided to not do that with the Port of Sunnyside or the City of Sunnyside and with a private equity company to do the borrowing. And so we facilitated all the way through council, and we're close to the pledge in this. They decided to go elsewhere. So
Thank you, Jay.
thanks.
Do a roll call and all city councils here and everybody from the porch here. So we have a complete staff. Active agenda. Approve the minutes of the January 9th, 2023 special meeting. Does anybody have any changes they need to make to the agenda?
I move to approve the agenda or the minutes.
I'll second.
We have a first and a second.
I think Mr. Skilbrook seconded.
Who did?
Mr. Skip.
Okay. We have a first and a second. Yes.
When you read that, you said January 10th of 2023.
January 9th of
Pardon?
January 9th.
January. We're approving the minutes of January 10th, 2022.
Mhm.
I've got the wrong paper in front of me. Yes, we are. Yes, I do.
Mr. Chairman, we are in 2024, so last year's meetings would have been January of 2023.
But the minutes we approved last year were the year before. That's what.
So is that a typo?
Excuse me.
Counselor Beeler. The minutes you're approving are the January 9th, 2023 minutes.
Right. And today we're.
The correction was
Okay.
on the minutes from that meeting. You approved the 2022 minutes. Yes,
Right.
so that was the correction.
Okay. Anything else on those minutes? Hearing nothing. Those are, well, yes, say aye.
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 Those no, same. I too vote aye, motion carries. Next thing we have is the election of officers for the 2024 year. First up, number one will be the president. Do I have any nominees?
I would like to nominate Arnold Martin to be president this year.
We have Arnold Martin being nominated. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Any other nominations?
I move that we close the nominations for president.
Beg your pardon?
I move that we close the nominations for president.
I need a second to that now.
I'll second that.
Okay, nominations are closed. Those that would vote for Arnold Martin for the president, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say same. I too vote aye. You are now the president.
If I can keep things
Right?
Okay, there you go.
Okay, the nominations are now open for vice president.
I nominate Councillor Galvan for Vice President.
I second.
Counselor
Godwin.
Jorge.
Yeah.
Jorge Calvin has been nominated for vice president. Are there any other nominations?
I move the nominations be closed.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made for the nominations be closed. Okay, we'll move forward to that. All those in favor of Jorge for vice president, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, congratulations, Jorge, for vice president. Now we'll open the nominations for secretary.
I nominate Counselor Fausto for secretary.
I second.
Okay, Counselor Frosto has been nominated for secretary. Any other nominations?
I move that nominations be closed.
Second.
A motion made and seconded for nominations to be closed. Nominations are now closed. We'll vote on Vicky, Councilmember Foster for secretary. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Congratulations, Frosto. Okay. Is there any other general business to come before the Sunnyside Industrial Development Corporation this evening? Comments, questions, thoughts? Ingenious thinking. Okay, hearing none, I will adjourn the meeting at
6:07.
PM, January 8th, 2024. We're done? Pardon? We're all done?
Okay.
All right, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Welcome, everybody, to the first meeting of 2024. Regular meeting of Sunnyside City Council. For the record, all members of council are here and all the staff is here with the exception of our Fire Chief Holbrick. We have somebody here to do the invocation. I'd like to ask you to come forward. I'd like to ask everyone to please rise for the invocation and then please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's pray. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for bringing us through another year. And we thank you for our city and for the blessings that you have given us. And we thank you for the leadership that you have given us here. And we thank you that you have allowed us to pray before each meeting. And we pray that that will continue. We pray for wisdom for our leaders and all the decisions that they're faced with, and that they would seek your guidance in each decision that they make. We pray for peace in our city and safety for all who live here. And we ask for special protection for all of our first responders. We ask for new businesses and industries to come to our town. And we pray for the children in our schools that you'd be with each one of them as they learn. And we ask that Sunnyside again would be known as the Holy City. Thank you again for all that you do for us. In Jesus' name, we pray these things. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. First of all, I want to start out by officially and formally welcoming our new council members. We had a swearing in ceremony earlier this evening, and it was a fairly packed venue. So you've got a lot of support, and so it's exciting to have you here, and we wish you the best as you serve this term on council. We hope it goes very well for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so being human, I didn't notice early on that the agenda had a glaring gap in it. And so council, if there's no objection, I'd like to make an amendment to the agenda. And we will add two items. The first is the selection of mayor, and the second is selection of deputy mayor. Hearing none, we will go forward. So at this time, we will receive nominations for mayor and deputy mayor. We'll start with mayor. And please remember that the term of mayor is for 2 years. And the mayor is selected by council. The mayor does not have any extra authority over council. The mayor doesn't have any extra votes, but the mayor does have the privilege of chairing meetings and signing documents. So at this time, who do we have nominations for mayor?
I'd like to nominate Mayor Borsman.
Thank you, sir. Yes, and I am willing. Other nominations?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to nominate Councilor Galvan for mayor.
Mr. Galvan. Mr. Galvan, are you willing to serve?
Yes.
Other nominations?
I move the nominations be closed.
Second.
All in favor of closing nominations, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. I too vote aye. Nominations are closed. All right. So in order to do this, we do a roll call vote, which means I will call your name and you will tell me who you vote for. And the winner of that vote becomes the mayor. So we'll start at the far end of the dais. Mr. Beeler,
Mayor Borsman.
Ms. Vasquez,
May I vote for Councilor Galvan?
Ms. Ripley,
Mayor Borsma.
and Ms. Frausto,
Counselor Galvan.
Mr. Galvan,
Counselor Galvan.
Ms. Hart,
Mayor Borsma.
and I'm going to vote for myself, which is the tiebreaker. So in opinion of the chair, I win by one vote. It's not exactly a mandate. Council members, as I serve as mayor, please feel free to talk to me and reach out to me with any questions you have, comments, or suggestions. The next office to be held then is the deputy mayor. And I will take nominations for deputy mayor at this time.
I nominate Counselor Galvan.
I second.
We don't need a second for nominations, so thank you though.
I nominate Marty Beeler.
Okay, other nominations? Okay, then I would entertain a motion to close nominations at this point.
I'll close, move to close the nominations.
Have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor of closing nominations, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. I too vote aye. Nominations are closed. All right, again, roll call vote as we go down. Mr. Beeler,
I vote for myself.
okay. Ms. Vasquez,
Councilor Galvan.
Ms. Ripley,
Marty Beeler.
Ms. Frausto,
Counselor Galvan.
Mr. Galvan,
Myself.
Ms. Hart.
Mr. Beeler.
It comes down to me for a tiebreaker again. I'm going to vote for Mr. Galvan. I think both candidates are very good. Mr. Galvan, congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right. We have, next item on our agenda is public comments. Citizens are advised that they must limit their remarks to the council to 3 minutes. Council may refer items to staff to review and or research for presentation. And typically, council doesn't respond necessarily directly to public comments, but we do take notes, we do hear them, and we definitely research them. So I will go down the list of those on the public comment sheet, take them in order. Our first person is Tom Dolan. Please approach the microphone, state your name and your city of residence.
Tom Dolan, Sunnyside, Washington. And Mayor Boardman, you beat me to it, but I wanted to be the first to congratulate all of you because it was so busy over there that I didn't even get to say hi, and that's not how your name's spelled. But congratulations and look forward to working with all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next person on the list is David Rand.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, council women and men. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I didn't really think I was going to speak tonight, but kind of did put my name on there just for a reason, no reason at all. But I believe it's over on the other side of the mountains where I work. I've been listening to a news article about the council allowing prayer at their council meetings. And I believe it's the ACLU has started to get involved in that, because when we come and we say a prayer, which I believe in God 100%, but we're only saying one religion. And I kind of think that's a little wrong to only address one religion. If we're going to have the council blessed every council meeting with a prayer, I think we need to get multiple religions in here all at one time and do it all at once if we're going to break the federal law of church and state. So I would really like the council to take a look at this, because I'd really hate to see a plaintiff go to the ACLU and request a few things about church and state and prayer. It is all over the internet, and I got quite a few people I've been told that are watching that asked me about it as I'm sitting here. So I would really hope that we can reconsider this and look into our federal laws. And then my second topic is, my wife has made 11 complaints about the Mahoney's refrigerators be behind their business at the alleyway. And there's a federal law that states that refrigerators cannot be outside so where the children can get them. And the doors are on them. So now, you know, a little kid gets stuck in there and we have a death. You know, that would be a terrible thing to be addressed to the family of the individual that this may happen to. That my wife and I have been complaining for 5 years now about those refrigerators. I know I'm David Rand, and I'm like, as Miss Boersma just told me, I'm the second hatedest guy in Sunnyside, and her husband's the first hated guy in Sunnyside. I would really appreciate somebody to overlook that and take a look into some federal laws and get those refrigerators moved. I mean, I'm harassed pretty much at my place all the time. I got police reports that I report the city harassing me. So I would like to move forward and have some other people do their jobs in our town finally. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next in on the list is Sandra Zasadi.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sandra Susati. Buenas noches a todos que vienen aquí, que no hablan inglés, pero aquí estamos, ¿verdad? Apoyando. Born here in Sunnyside, all my life, so 37 years, and I just wanted to congratulate the city council members. It feels good to see somebody of my color serving in the community. So thank you guys. I feel super proud. And then also I want to also give a shout out to the city of Sunnyside that is now translating everything in Spanish, which should have been happening a long time ago, but I'm shout out now. And then also, knowing that Mayor Burson speaks Spanish, I'm surprised you haven't been in the Hispanic community. Recently, so now that I know that you speak Spanish, I'm also wondering how we have translators here for the people who don't speak Spanish.
If I may address that.
You may.
We are working on the same kind of system that the school district uses. And we just want to make sure that we do it right and we don't provide something that is not valuable. So we want to make sure we have certified translators and we will have the headsets as soon as we can get the right program.
All right, next name on my list is Lindsay, and it looks like Kessling?
Hi, my name is Lindsay Kiesling, but it gets mispronounced all the time. You did pretty good there. I'm not a resident of Sunnyside. I'm a resident of Zilla, but as the chair of the Yakima County Democrats, I've had the responsibility of looking at a lot of the voting trends that have been happening throughout Yakima County. And I just wanted to come today and say a little bit about the election we just experienced, because while voting throughout Yakima County was incredibly low, even for a midterm election in the city of Sunnyside, it was actually larger than normal. And I think that that says something pretty significant about the faith that the community has put in the new council members that were just elected. And I just want to say that I hope that you guys have a lot of blessings in your journey, that the work that you have been elected to do for this community is able to be done. And I hope that you guys carry the responsibility to represent the people that voted for you well, and that that responsibility is respected by the people that you work with.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Maria Fernandez.
Hi, Maria Fernandez with EA. We've done a lot of work here in Sunnyside and getting out the vote effort. We're so happy to see the council have some more representation. We'd like to see it completely mirror the demographics of the city, but we consider this an incremental change for Sunnyside. We will continue to do that effort so that every entity, government entity throughout Yakima County mirrors its communities. I was really impressed, Mr. Mayor, with your Spanish at the ceremony. I'm also very disappointed because it was news to me as well. And I'm going to ditto what Sandra said in that we would have loved to have seen more of that within all of the events that we had throughout the entire summer when we were doing listening sessions and community forums and inviting residents to speak about their concerns and their ideas for the city or the port or whatever development projects are happening here in the city. I'm also relieved to find out that you all are finally taking the step to make sure that residents understand what is happening in their language here with the city council. And so if it took all of this effort to finally get the city changing in this direction, we are so proud to have been able to invest our time, our resources in making sure that those changes happen here. Like I said, we consider it an incremental change, and we look forward to seeing much more participation within all of the city committees that you all have. We will continue to review and assess, and we are going to encourage the new council members to continue to review and assess and audit the city in terms of every aspect of it, including suppliers, vendors, contractors, developers, so on and so forth. And we're going to really enjoy watching that happen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Teodora Martinez.
Hello, I just wanted, my name is Teodora Martinez, I'm with EA, and I live in the Outlook area, and I'm also very proud to see that there's finally not just women, but also women of color on the city council. I do agree with one of the gentlemen that spoke earlier about the refrigerators and the safety. I do believe there is some kind of law that says the doors have to come off of those units or they need to be padlocked. I know I read it somewhere. But anyway, the other thing I wanted to say is when I was doing door knocking and getting the vote out in the Lower Valley, one of the things that I want to remind the city council that, don't forget to take the interest of your community into consideration when voting. Here in Sunnyside, the Hispanic population is over 80%, if I remember right. 86%. Yeah, that's quite a bit. So, and again, I also have to agree with another comment that was said about religion. We all, there's different religions represented in this room alone. And there's not just straight people that live in the Sunnyside area, but there's also gay people that live in the Sunnyside area. So you need to take that into consideration as well. So anyway, I'm looking forward to see how successful you guys will become for our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Lorenzo Nawa. Did I say that right? I'm sorry.
Hi, good evening. My name is Lorenzo Nava and I live here for 18 years. Solo quiero agradecerles a todos ustedes la gran participación que tuvieron en estos eventos.
So can we have someone interpret while he's speaking?
I don't speak English very well, but...
No, está bien, pero necesitamos un intérprete para ayudar.
Oh, está bien.
No habla español. Okay, so as the chair, it's difficult for me to work as an interpreter. So is there someone who can help in the audience? Jackie, would you be willing to do that?
Yeah, I will do
Okay,
that.
dele a ella para intérprete entonces.
Está bien, muchísimas gracias. Primero que nada, quiero agradecerle a usted su atención y quiero felicitar a la señora Julia Hart primeramente por toda
Julia Hart,
su lucha ante todo lo que ha habido en la población.
for your fight,
Y
everything that's happened here.
esencialmente quiero agradecerle más que nada, y estoy completamente orgulloso por mi gente que me tocó estar viendo su gran esfuerzo, su lucha y dejar a sus familias por un largo tiempo para seguir adelante y tener firmes sus proyectos.
Their great strength and everything they've done for their families, leaving their families to do all their projects.
Primeramente quiero felicitar a Jorge Galván
We would like to
por la gran
congratulate
trayectoria
Jorge
que ha
Galván
tenido y la gran lucha que está haciendo por la comunidad.
for everything that he's doing and going to do for the community.
En segundo lugar a Vicky Frausto, chiquita, pero gran,
I'd like to thank
enorme luchadora, incansable.
the fighter,
Y principalmente a la joven Karen
also Karen,
Vázquez, por su entusiasmo, por seguir adelante y siempre de la mano de Dios. Muchísimas gracias y que tengan buen día.
for Karen's
Gracias.
enthusiasm. And he thanks everyone.
All right, thank you, sir.
Muchas gracias, Lorenzo.
Por Mila Sánchez.
Buenas noches, yo necesito intérprete también, porque no.
Jackie, could you do this or or do you need help?
I can if you'd like me to, but if you don't,
I would prefer that Jackie do it for one simple reason. As council members, we need to listen to what these folks are saying, and it's difficult to interpret and listen at the same time to pay appropriate attention. So if we could let Jackie, I know it's a lot of work, Jackie, and you were not prepared for it, but I,
translated in a while, like live, but si me da pausas, por favor, puedo traducir, ¿ok?
Bueno, buenas noches, soy Hermila Sánchez,
Good evening, she's Ermilia Sanchez. Is that right?
orgullosa de ver esta
She's
gente
proud
joven,
to see these young people here,
feliz,
happy,
agradecida de tener gente joven con ganas de luchar y salir adelante y con de perdes tenemos ya quien nos entienda porque pues viene uno aquí, nadie sabe inglés, nadie sabe español y
thankful
nosotros
for
no sabemos inglés, así que nos
people
quedamos
here.
sinceros.
And she's thankful for people that speak Spanish because I think I'm getting this right. Thankful that there's, ¿sí puede repetirlo? Disculpe, es que se me pasó.
Bueno, gracias a todos por, ojalá que dejen
She's thankful for
nuestros
everybody.
nuestra raza, los hispanos que trabajen, pues, que nos echen la mano a
Hispanics
nosotros.
work and help us.
Como son minoría, pues no
We're a
vayan
minority.
a querernos aplastar, porque pues necesitamos apoyo nosotros.
Please don't bring us down since we need support.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Muchas
Thank you.
gracias, Mila.
Gracias.
Okay, next name on my list is Janet Hicks.
Janet Hicks, Sunnyside. Like everybody else, I just want to say welcome to the new members and welcome back to Julia. And can't wait to see what happens. And it's nice to see 4 women up there for a change. So congratulations.
Thank you, Janet.
Next is Ruby Medina.
Good evening. My name is Ruby Medina and I live in Sunnyside. So I wanted to say thank you and congratulations to the new city council members. And I really hope and challenge each and every one of you guys to be able to hold the existing city council members, the city manager and the mayor held accountable to, you know, taking the actions that they need to, that they have not done. And I ask for a time that we can all meet and discuss the concerns that I have repeatedly have brought up here, and they still have not been addressed or dealt with. So just wanted to bring that up. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Allison Wood.
I am Allison Wood and I'm a Sunnyside resident. And my biggest concern is animal control. It's a huge issue in this area. I'm originally from the Seattle area. I have never seen something like this in my entire life. There's no follow-up. I just had a neighbor dog. I'm feeding her on a regular basis. I've become kind of attached, who was picked up by animal control. And somehow the owner got her back. But since the day she came back, she's still running loose. And she deserves a really good home where somebody can love and care for her. This is her second load of puppies, and she's not even 2 years old. And I think she's going to be pregnant again. That's just no way for a dog to live. And I have a big heart when it comes to animals, and I would really like something done in this area. I don't know if we need outside help, but work more with the rescues. There's a lot of rescues out there that are willing to find good homes for these animals if we can work together with them. I would like to see that. And that's my biggest concern. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next name on my list is on Zoom. That's Benji Aguilar. Benji, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Oh, perfect. I wasn't sure if it was going to come through. So sorry I couldn't be there tonight. My name is Benji Aguilar, and I do live in Granger, Washington now, just recently. Happy New Year to all of you, and thank you all for your service, all of you council members. I know it takes a lot for everything that you all do for our community. Special congratulations, of course, to our new city council members. We're all so very, very proud of all of you. Very proud of you stepping up to the plate. It's very difficult to get people to step up and be leaders of their community. So it says a lot to see these young people step up and do this. And I know older people like us, Dean, you know, we tend to do that more easily. But when you get younger people in there, it just makes such an impact can make such an impact to our future. And so I really appreciate them taking time out of their lives, and because some of them still have young kids and they have, you know, it's difficult. So I'm very grateful to them for stepping up. I think that was said earlier in English and Spanish, which was awesome. And so I just wanted to give a little piece of advice to our new city council members. As a former councilwoman, One of the things that helped me a lot, it was in one of the trainings that I learned this, and I just remember it. It really impacted me. They taught us to always agree to disagree agreeably. That helped me a lot through my term, and I hope that you guys remember that little tip, because it's important that you do disagree sometimes, but it is very more important that you agree agreeably so that you can move your agenda forward as a team and and collaboration as a together, as a group. And so just really appreciate you all. And I think all the comments that were made about the Spanish thing, I think that continues to be an issue and needs to be addressed all the time, because we are 86% Latino in Sunnyside, and we do need to make sure we're communicating with the whole community. So hopefully that is going to be one of the priorities with our new city council members. It's great to see our Latino leadership stepping up. So thank you. And I know Maria and Theodora are there tonight, and they made a big effort. They had a lot to do with helping get out the vote, and many, many other people as well. So thank you for getting out the vote. And we were able to change the leadership a little bit in Sunnyside. Hope we'll see some more in the future. So thank you so much. And that is what I wanted to say. Thanks for giving me the time. God bless you all. And I will be praying for all of you.
Thank you, Angie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next name on my list is Britton Moore.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. I want to wish all of leadership a happy and healthy new year, and congratulations to our new council members. Two really opposite topics. Number one, Fifth Street and Edison. I brought it up as a planning commissioner and also as a citizen, I think when Mr. Shuttleworth was here. But if you are heading south on Fifth Street, heading towards Safeway, and you are passing Varietal, you have to be in the middle of the road in order to see if someone's coming. I thought about this. It could be a real simple solution. Traffic survey, no. Traffic lights, expensive. Four-way stops, expensive. If we just had those spaces in front of Varietal be small car only, and I'm guilty, I own 3 big trucks, but but if you are parked there, and everyone that parks there usually has a big truck, you cannot see until you're in the middle of the road, and it's pretty dangerous. And one of these days, it's not going to be a good situation. So I don't know what we can do. The city can talk to Varietal if they're willing to put small car only in those parking spots, but it would be the cheapest and easiest way to settle that problem. My second issue is, yes, we've got a big animal problem. It's not anyone's problem, it's all of our problem. I've got a large dog house that I'll bring down to the police department to donate. It can fit 2 or 3 small dogs. At least it's covered from wind and rain. I know we have issues with officers having to feed and walk, and they're police officers. They should be doing their job. They shouldn't have to do this. So I'm happy to start a revolving list of volunteers, if that's possible, to come down, walk the animals, feed the animals, and clean the pens. Don't know if that's something that would be helpful, but I'm more than happy to do that. I've also got some dog food to donate. But it's everyone's problem. We shouldn't lay it on any one person or one place's shoulders. We can work together, but we have to work together. And if starting a volunteer list is something that's possible, I'm happy to do so. I'm also happy to do a adoption day at Bob's Drive-In sometime this spring, get these animals placed in homes right away. I do a lot of animal placement on my own, out of my own pocket. It's generally cats. I get them fixed, I get them rehomed, or put down if needed. So this is something I'm more than happy to do. Just give me the green light and let me know what I can do to help. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, then I have one more on Zoom. Hector, I don't have a last name for you, Hector. So if you go ahead and introduce yourself, if you can hear me. You've got your microphone muted.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead, sir.
Oh, good afternoon. My name is Hector Larios. I live in Sunnyside. First of all, I'd just like to congratulate all the new council members. Congratulations. Sorry I can't be there. I'm actually down in California at the moment. But I'm excited. I mean, I have never really been involved in and anything that goes on with the city or the council or nothing, just up until this last election. It's definitely good seeing the plans that these new council members have. The main concern for me, and I'm sure a few of you have seen it, it's our youth. You know, I really hope to see some big plans for our youth, our community, and all of the members here. I feel like if we can open up some more opportunities for these kids, you know, there would be a lot less of the issues that we have going on with them at the moment. You know, maybe some more sports, maybe open up the community center a little bit more. You know, maybe more parks and recs, getting involved with the community a lot more. Just issues like that. As far as anything else goes, I mean, I'm excited to see all the changes coming. So thank you for your time.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, and that completes the list of people we had signed up. Just a couple of comments. Number one, the prayer at the beginning of our meetings, the invocation is not set up by council. It is set up by independent individuals. At one time, it was set up by the Sunnyside Pastoral Association, and now it's set up by another private individual who asks if they can bring pastors in. This is not something that council goes out and solicits. And also along the lines, the state legislature also opens its sessions with an invocation each time. And so we have never really questioned the validity or the need for that, but we can definitely look into that. Second, animal control is something that we have been working on, and it has been moving glacially slow. As Ms. Medina knows, she has called me frustrated many times, and we try to come to some solutions, and nothing is moving as quickly as we would like. We do take this seriously. It is a serious issue, and nothing is working the way we want it to. And we continue to be frustrated. I know our manager is working on it as hard as she can. She is an animal lover herself, and it's incredibly frustrating for her to have to struggle with that as well. So please understand, we are taking it seriously. All of us council members live in Sunnyside, and we see the animals wandering around the same as all of you do, and we want something to be solved there. And then as far as me speaking Spanish, when I'm in town and there's an event, I usually go. So every National Night Out in 2022, I attended in local neighborhoods and I spoke Spanish for hours on end. This year, I happened to be on vacation during the 2 weeks that we were doing our National Night Out, so I wasn't present for any of that. As far as listening sessions during the campaign season, I did not feel it was a good idea for me to get involved in other people's campaigns. And so I stepped back because I just felt that these folks should be able to to get their views out there, get their comments out there without me perhaps throwing some cold water on it or something like that. And I just didn't feel that was appropriate. So I wasn't participating in those activities. But if there are forums in the future, every time we've had a city forum at community center or whatever, I've always been there. And whenever Spanish was needed, I was sure happy to jump in. So be that as it may, if you have something that you wish me to be present at, please give me a call and I would be happy to participate. All right. Council, you all received copies of our last meeting on December 4 and our meeting on December 11. Those minutes were not included in your agenda packet, but in the half hour in between the SIDC meeting with the port and the beginning of this meeting, you did have, I hope, opportunity to read through that. Is there any objection to including these minutes in the consent agenda?
No objections.
No objection.
Okay, so take note of that. All right, so the next item of business is the consent agenda. Consent agenda consists of the following: the recently approved December 4th and December 11th minutes. Okay, it is not uncommon for people after the public comment period to want to get up and leave. The meeting does sometimes get a little bit boring after this, but if you wish to stay, you're certainly welcome. We do not encourage anyone to leave, but if you're willing to leave, please try to do so as quietly as possible. All right, going on. Payroll vouchers, approved payroll voucher numbers 119423 through 119431 and wire transfers as listed for $609,110.66 for the period ending December 11, 2023. Approved payroll vouchers numbers 119432 through 119437 and wire transfers as listed for $538,337.40 for the period ending on December 22, 2023. Claim vouchers. Approved claim voucher numbers 107982 through 108041 and wire transfers as listed for $167,767.26 for the period ending on December 6, 2023. Approved claim voucher numbers 108042 through 108106 and wire transfers as listed for $274,640.29 for the period ending on December 13, 2023. Approved claim voucher numbers 108107 through 108177 and wire transfers as listed for $457,123.30 for the period ending December 22, 2023. Approved claim voucher numbers 108178 through 108249 and wire transfers as listed for $130,742.60 for the period ending on December 29, 2023. Does any council member wish to remove an item from the consent agenda for discussion?
Yes.
Okay, which item would you like to remove, sir?
Well, I had a few questions on some of these payrolls. They're pretty large.
Okay, do you have like a line?
Let's see here. I got a name I could give you.
Okay,
transaction 16578.
That employee, that was his final paycheck. He no longer works for the city, so there was a large leave cash out associated.
All right.
Any others?
This probably the same for 16618.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And there was a purchase for I think the finance department, TV for 11.
Do you have a transaction number?
It is, well, it's under the 16507. It's one of the items in there.
16507. Oh, okay. That's the 75-inch smart TV?
Yeah, 1143 and 65 cents for a 75-inch smart TV.
These are TVs for the training room in the basement at City Hall. So we have it used to just be a bunch of storage. We sort of revamped it so that we have more meeting space at City Hall. And so we put a smart TV down there so that we can do something like what we have up here. So we can do presentations for trainings and meetings.
And I've seen some of the TVs, like at Walmart for the same size, $498. Is there a reason?
Those were for the community center. They were on stage tonight.
Okay.
Does that answer your question, sir?
Yes.
Okay, do you have others?
Yeah, I have another one, 16511. Body and vehicle cameras and tasers. Is that, I know it might be cut off, but is that from the ARPA fund?
That purchase is not out of the ARPA funds. So we originally, this is the amount, we actually spoke about it at the last meeting. One of the reasons why costs in the police department have gone up so much is there's a lot of new technology requirements. So this is the annual cost that it will be for us, at least going forward right now, to have body and vehicle cameras for all of our police officers.
Okay, thank you. That's it.
Okay. Any further items from council? All right, with these questions answered, then the consent agenda is complete. What is the desire of council on the consent agenda?
Move to approve the complete consent agenda.
I second.
All right, we've got a motion by Councilor Beeler, second by Councilor Galvan to approve the consent agenda. Debate on this item? Hearing none. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. I too vote aye. Motion carries. Active agenda. Item A, the 2024 official newspaper. Consider approving a resolution.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
Councilor Fausto, I would like to make a motion.
Now?
Yes.
Okay, there's no objection to Ms. Ferrell making a motion now?
Can we, maybe she could say what it's about?
We do have a section of items from council members that you might,
It's about the process. I want to move to suspend the rules to change the agenda procedures.
is this something that we could put on the rules committee?
No. I can read my motion and then we can decide if.
Okay, yes, if there's no objection to amending the agenda to allow Ms. Frausto to read her motion. Hearing none. Go ahead.
Well, I'm just wondering if this is the right place for that.
Well, and I'm concerned about that as well. You're concerned about the process and yet the process is being interrupted. So,
Well, maybe we can figure out how to get there. I want to move to suspend the rules to change the agenda procedures for tonight's meeting and the meetings moving forward to include and allow public questions after each agenda item, limiting one question per person.
so that's probably something that we want to run through the rules committee. It has been brought up in the past and it's probably best if we run that through the rules committee and then we discuss it at a workshop or along those lines as opposed to changing it mid-meeting. There's reasons for discussing that. There's reasons both in favor of it and reasons against it. And I'd like to be able for us to have a open discussion at an appropriate time where we could sit down and be prepared for that meeting as opposed to now when it we weren't expecting it.
Okay, sounds good. I just want to make sure that I get it on the table and I get it on record, and I hope we do follow up with that. I think it's important to engage community in discussion, and especially if we're talking about transparency, I want to make sure that open communication is part of that.
Not objecting to that at all. Is that something we can put on a workshop? Do we?
Yes.
Okay, we'll put that perhaps on the February workshop and we can discuss that then. Is that right?
That sounds good.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Is she retracting the motion?
Well, she said she wanted to give a motion, but she hasn't made the motion yet.
Make it.
We didn't make it.
All right. Active agenda then, 2024 official newspaper. Consider approving a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with the Sunnyside Sun as the city's official newspaper for 2024. Madam City Manager.
Ms. Renteria?
Okay, this is for your official newspaper where we post our legal notices. And we posted a request for bids in November. We received one, but it was past the due date. And so we did it again and we received one again from the Sunnyside Sun. So I am requesting that you approve a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement with the Sunnyside Sun to be our official newspaper for this year.
Questions for the city clerk?
Does the newspaper meet what our needs are for as far as postings? I haven't really found any rules on what the newspapers, how many they're supposed to, how they're getting the information out.
It does, as long as they meet as long as they publish once a week is enough.
And it doesn't have to be paper copies. It can be online nowadays. Is that?
Yes, it can be online, yeah. And so the Sunnyside Sun does post on paper and online whenever we request it to me.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Further questions? What is the desire of council on this item?
Make a motion to approve the resolution authorizing city manager to enter into the agreement with the Sunnyside Sun as the city's official newspaper.
I'll second.
24.
All right, we got a motion by Councilor Hart, second by Councilor Beeler to approve the resolution authorizing city manager to enter into an agreement with the Sunnyside Sun as the city's official newspaper for 2024. Debate on this item. Hearing none. All in favor of this motion, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, no. I too vote aye. Motion passes. Item B, Animal Control Services Interlocal Agreement with the City of Grandview. Consider authorizing the city manager to enter into an interlocal agreement between the City of Sunnyside and the City of Grandview for animal control services. Madam City Manager.
Good evening, Council and Mayor. I would like to address this and basically kind of give you a little background on our animal control. So I want to say about 15 years ago, give or take. Animal control was eliminated from Sunnyside and Grandview at the same time. They basically didn't have the staff to do the job. Yakima Humane Society took over for that purpose and hired staff to do animal control. They have a new, Yakima Humane Society has a new executive director. And after reviewing basically the practice that we were doing, he no longer wanted to be in the business of animal control. He felt like focusing on sheltering was more the practice of the Humane Society. So we had to kind of jump off a cliff. This happened very, very quickly. We actually hired the former animal control that was working for the Humane Society and purchased a vehicle. That is really about as far as we've gotten with that. So this agreement is between the city of Sunnyside and the city of Grandview to continue the shared services that the Yakima Humane Society was providing for animal control. We know there is a big need. We know that there's partners that are out there that we can partner with. It just needs to probably not be during the holidays when we were all trying to take time off. So I am committed to make this work. I do think one of our priorities needs to be shelter and working with the community because it is everyone's problem, not just one. So this is basically to enter into an interlocal agreement between Sunnyside and Grandview to pay for the services that we're providing. So they will pay their equal share.
Questions for the manager? Mr. Beeler.
Are we currently providing for Grandview at this point?
We have been since November 1st, so because they didn't have anything. So we are there 20 hours a month and 20 hours here.
20 hours a month or 20 hours a
I
week?
mean, a week. 20 hours a week split.
And we need a lot more animal control down here. So are we going to be bringing in more people?
Well, if we had a place to put the dogs, that would really be ideal. That's really what the need is right now. I mean, you can have somebody driving around and picking up strays, but it doesn't do very much good.
I think last time I've talked to you, we've called every shelter all the way to Spokane and they're full.
Yeah, it's just really a struggle right now. And it's not just here. It's kind of a nationwide. Everyone got puppies while they were home during COVID and then didn't have a place for them when they went back to work. And that really caused a big surge in animal population. And, you know, we don't have a ton of vets here. We have one veterinarian in Sunnyside, one in Prosser that will take animals. So they also aren't taking new patients. If you have a new dog, they aren't taking new patients. So, you know, it's just a big problem and we're going to have to be creative in how we try to solve it.
This is going to be an uphill battle.
It is.
It is to do it.
Further questions for the manager?
Yeah, so you did say that this interlocal agreement is already established, right, with Grandview?
It's basically a carryover of the Humane Society, that this is kind of what they offered when they did it. And so this is just a formalizing the interlocal agreement so that we have something on paper that says exactly how we're going to do this, so that we're not just making it up as we go.
Okay, did you make any specific modifications into this agreement?
No, we
the
pretty
same?
much followed
same?
what we had before because really it was a format that worked. But this is kind of ILAs or living, breathing documents. We could come back to you in 6 months and say, you know, this part of it isn't working for us. We need to modify that, but this at least gives us somewhere to start.
Okay.
Ms. Ripley.
If we can't even house the animals from Sunnyside, how are we gonna do it with more from Grandview?
Actually, there is a lot of rescues that will help us. We just have to get everybody together. I think that's the biggest thing. We probably need to start a work group to kind of get people going on this issue.
And we have had community members who have stepped up and said that they would be willing to help. At this point, we haven't been able to utilize them properly. And for that, I apologize. I think that there's a lot of potential in some of the people who have spoken to me. And we heard from one person this evening who is also willing to step up. And so there are community members. It's a matter of bringing everything together. And on the surface, it sounds incredibly easy, but pulling all the strings together to make it all work into what it should be has proven to be more difficult than we expected. And as the manager said, the holidays kind of got in the middle of all of that as well. And so we have struggled over that period of time. I think, I don't know, I'm optimistic that we can get something going here. It's just a matter of getting that momentum built up has taken more effort than I thought it would. So it's hard.
I'm just curious, currently is Grandview housing its own animals or are we bringing them to Sunnyside?
Could the chief of police answer that for me?
I believe they're bringing them here. I don't think that she's picking up a whole lot of dogs in Grandview. I can tell you that this is a countywide problem because the Humane Society dropped this bomb on everybody. I've probably been in 3 chiefs meetings. I have one coming up next week with us, Toppenish, Moxie, Grandview, the sheriff's office. All the cities are having the same problem. The Yakima Humane Society is a no-kill shelter. So when the dogs go there, they stay there until they're adopted out. So there's dogs that have been there for 2 years. And once that kennel's full with a dog, that your capacity is limited. So that's where we're having a lot of the issues. At one time, we had 11 dogs back here behind the police department. So it's we're picking them up, but we get to a point where we don't have a place to put them either. And so that's some of the challenge we're running into.
I have a question.
I'll go ahead, Mr. Russell.
Item A and H, impounded and treatment. I just had a clarifying question. Animals will be euthanized in the case of an incurable disease or those that can no longer be saved through medical attention. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
And that's actually part of, if I remember right, I didn't want to have any euthanasia, and Chief Lehman kind of corrected me that there is some things that you just cannot fix. And so if you could kind of speak to that, Chief.
Well, we have dogs that are hit by a car or something like that. You take them to the vet. Once they're in our possession, they're our responsibility. So there are times dogs are going to get euthanized. I mean, whether the vet says, well, we can't, it's going to be a lot more humane to, put the dog down or whatever. But that's obviously a last resort. We're not just picking up dogs, keeping them for a week and saying, no, they didn't get adopted and euthanizing them. That's not what we're doing here. So,
okay, thank you for clarifying that. My next question is, who's conducting these medical procedures, or who are we partnering with? Is it the local vet here in Sunnyside, and how are we covering those costs?
We haven't actually done any of that work, and that's what the work that needs to be done. Meeting with the local veterinarian. There are also mobile veterinarians that are out there. It's just a matter of getting everybody kind of together so that we can work with them. Our animal control officer often does go to the pet clinic and say, hey, can you look at this dog? And they do help us out.
Yeah, I was there, I think last week when they got a call. Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Galvan.
Yeah, so on section D, it says dogs without form of ID will be held for 3 days, dogs with ID for 5 days. What's the city planning on doing with the dogs after those days?
They can be adopted out after that time. So we have to hold a dog for a certain period of time to allow the owner an opportunity to come in and claim their dog. We can't bring it in and adopt it out 2 hours later because someone stops by and then the owner comes 2 hours after that and says, where's my dog? Well, it got adopted wherever. So we're responsible for the dog for those period of times before it can be adopted out.
So there's no limit for them to be back there. They could be back there for a long time until they get adopted.
Well, yeah, we're not really set up for dogs back here. This is a couple of really temporary kennels behind the PD. We did have one dog that was back there for almost 3 weeks before it finally got adopted out.
Further questions or comments?
I have one last question.
Go ahead.
Has there been conversation with the incoming mayor-elect about this interlocal agreement?
Actually, I spoke with Shane Fisher, the city administrator for Grandview today, and the mayor thought we were euthanizing and asked for this item to be pulled from their agenda. And after speaking with Shane and going over it and reading it out loud, which sometimes is a good way to understand something, we both agreed that that's not the language that's being presented to you. And so he's asked for it to be put back on their agenda for the next city council meeting.
Okay.
I got another question.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
So on section G, it says that our animal control is going to follow the laws of the Grandview, whatever Grandview laws have. I understand Grandview has tougher laws for people that don't take care of their dogs. Are we going to match those laws? So it could be easier for animal control?
Actually, what I was going to suggest is that we do a workshop to discuss animal control in a complete manner. City of Zilla is an example of where they do not have very many, they don't have unlicensed dogs because the fine is so expensive. And so that could be the route that we take it. But I want to make sure that we're able to do it at a workshop where you can ask questions and we can discuss it as a council of a whole and see where we want to go with animal control. Because really, honestly, it does, if we were having people buy their licenses and it was contributing to the program, we'd have more money.
Yeah, I think we should start enforcing our codes and ordinances.
All right. Further questions for manager, Mr. Beeler?
I know we had asked for donations from the city, anybody that could contribute. Did that bring in anything?
Yes, it's actually been bringing in a little bit here and there. We had the Festival of Trees, and I'm still trying to do the accounting on that to figure out how much actually goes to the shelter, but we have had a lot of donations. So, and people interested in different ways to help, where like once we get a shelter built, they can buy the kennel and put in memorial or put for somebody. And so there's different ways for us to start raising money. It's just going to take time.
And how does people find this? Is it on the website still?
We have it on the website. There's a page dedicated to animal control. But we will make sure and check to see if it's still working and updated.
Thank you.
I have a stack of business size cards with a QR code on it that'll take you right to the site on the internet. And I'm sure you've got a couple more of those left over that you could share with the rest of us. The nice thing about this is not only is there an actual need, there's a perceived need. People are seeing it. If you look on Facebook on some of the Sunnyside pages, that's one of the top topics that are posted about. And so people know that this is a need. People believe this is a need. And so they are willing to help. I think that we can get some enthusiasm going on this project. This animal shelter is a great project. And now I'm distracted by the pictures on my screen here, but that's
Doggies.
sorry.
Well, I just think that, you know, for now, what we're trying to do is just create an agreement to work with Grandview on the dog issue. Them actually using our animal control person whom we've hired. That was in November, if I'm remembering. So that they have the 20 hours and we have 20 hours a week for capturing dogs. And then there's all the different fines and so forth. And all the language there is to make sure that things are as clear as possible. Like if I remember correctly, just earlier, you said that if something wasn't working, we can always come back and amend it. Okay. I just wanted to make sure I understood that correctly.
Right. So an interlocal agreement is an agreement between different communities to share resources and to help get things done where it doesn't cost each community so much. It's kind of like sharing the load. And it has been an effective tool. We have that with ambulance service, fire service, and other types of services between cities. And so this is not an unusual procedure. It's not an unusual way of getting some things done. Sunnyside is getting some benefit. Grandview is getting helped. And both communities definitely need animal control. So
I have one more question.
More questions.
So Chief Lehman did state that sometimes they get up to 11 unclaimed dogs or pets, right? So what's the procedure from there? Do you guys do any marketing on social media in order to let the community and residents know
So
dogs are being unclaimed for? Sorry.
That's okay. So our animal control officer is actually needing to sit down and learn how to use our website. So that's been one of the issues. And really, honestly, it happened so fast that we just kind of ran with it. And it's just a matter of getting the training done for our website.
I think website is good, but a lot of people won't be going into the website. So maybe Facebook, establishing a Facebook, Instagram, where residents are always on would be a good suggestion.
We can do that.
I'd appreciate that.
All right. Further questions? Hearing none, what is the desire of council on this question?
Recommend authorizing the city manager enter into an interlocal agreement between the city of Sunnyside and the city of Grandview for the animal control services.
I'll second that.
All right, we got a motion by Counselor Beeler, second by Counselor Hart for authorizing the city manager to enter into an interlocal agreement between the city of Sunnyside and the city of Grandview for animal control services. Is there debate on this item?
I have some debate. I think we need to concentrate on Sunnyside first. I know it's a problem everywhere. We need to get it right. I know Councilor Hart said we could bring it back, and manager, you say we could bring it back, but let's get it right the first time, I think, and let's sit down with Grandview and see what the new mayor wants to do, and let's work on Sunnyside first and getting it controlled here, and then concentrate on other cities.
Care to comment on that?
I just take direction from the council, whatever the desire of council is.
Yes, I think the interlocal agreement though is working, makes it stronger to work with the Grandview and Sunnyside working together on this project. I think that there's financial advantages to having the interlocal agreement between the cities. Obviously, I think that the idea of sitting down with a workshop to actually iron out some of these different issues that we've heard tonight that are concerning the shelter, and the animal control situation. I think this is just one leg of that work that we need to do. And I think that obviously we want to focus on Sunnyside, that it sounds like the animals are going to end up here anyway. So I just feel like this is a good leg to have this in place as we move forward. I understand what you're saying as far as, Sunnyside first.
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of comments today about, pet issues.
Yeah, I see the fluffies out there running around.
We're gonna have, animal control split their time with Grandview, then, Sunnyside's not gonna be taken care of full time.
Well, and this is the way the situation was prior to the Humane Society dropping their animal control arm of their organization, I guess is what you say. We split the time with Grandview, and then of course they brought the animals up to the Humane Society. Then all of a sudden they dropped that bombshell on us and said, yeah, we're just not doing this anymore. And it was countywide. It wasn't just Lower Valley, but Grandview was as negatively impacted as we were. So we work hard to work with our neighboring communities. We really try to, help them in whatever way we can, and they reciprocate, obviously. So.
Okay. And then one more item, just to kind of let you know, we only budgeted for 2024 for half of the costs because Grandview is paying half of the cost of the animal control officer. So if we do not pass this one, then we will need to do a budget amendment to increase the salary and benefits for the police department, basically.
I'd like to say something too.
Reeler.
We're gonna have to build something to keep these animals in. And that's not cheap. And having another city work with us is gonna help both cities and help with the cost and getting us a quality facility to handle these pets. So.
Well, I agree with council member Hart. I would like to suggest a workshop. I myself still have questions, and I think maybe if we schedule a one-off, and we've had a lot of community input. I've had a lot of people approach me at a Walmart, wherever I may be, with their concerns about, the animal problem that we have. I have a big heart for animals. I have 2 babies of my own. And before I'll sign off on this, but I think there needs to be a lot more unpacking.
Well, it's definitely a topic that can be put on a work. There's a lot of things that can be put on a workshop, including this, and it's stuff that we can talk about further and modify. As the manager said, these are living documents. They can be modified, they can be updated, they can be changed as we see fit. This right now is formalizing something that has been going on for a couple of months. And it's a continuation of an agreement that we've had for several years with the city of Grandview. At this point, it's that. And Ms. Horner, I believe you were wanting to say something a second ago.
The city manager basically hit on it, but just there would be a budget impact to the revenues that we've budgeted for 2024 if we discontinue the agreement with Grandview, just to keep that in mind.
So could the workshop include both cities?
I'm sorry.
Could the workshop include both cities or?
Yeah, we could hold a special meeting where both cities are there. I mean, it's probably a good idea for councils to sit down anyway and discuss.
I am personally all for working with our neighboring cities, but at the end of the day, would it be fair to our policemen? You know, what happens after those? You say 11 dogs, you said that. What do you guys do after no one's claiming them? What's the challenge there? We don't have a shelter. So why are we bringing other pets from another city into ours?
That is the challenge. And right now, we've told animal control that unless the dog is aggressive or dangerous, we don't pick them up. We have no place to put them. What are we going to do this weekend when it's -5 degrees outside? I have no place to put dogs. That's not outside, and that's not humane for the dogs either. So we are not equipped to hold dogs here for a long period of time. And this specifically this time of year or in the heat of the summer. So the shelter, eventually a shelter is where we need to go, but the shelter has requirements for a building, just like a police station or fire station or other city building. I mean, it's a couple $1 million project. It's not a throw up a pole building for $80,000 and throw some kennels in it. That's not, so it's a big undertaking.
And that's proof enough that that's not fair to the city of Grandview, in my opinion.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor.
I'd like to call for the question.
Okay, so we called for the question. Obviously, there's still things to iron out on this. Obviously, this isn't the end of the discussion, but it is something that we do need to answer. Something needs to be done, and not doing something, I don't know that is the right answer either. But at any rate, the question has been called, and so all in favor of the motion as stated, authorizing the city manager to enter an interlocal agreement between the city of Sunnyside and the city of Grandview for animal control services. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, all opposed, no.
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 I vote aye. And opinion of the chair, the motion carries by 1. All right, but this is something that we're going to have to come back and discuss, and the animal control issue isn't going away. We want to improve it. This is a very beginning, and it is something that needs to be fleshed out a little bit more. Item C, fire engine funding agreement. Consider adopting an ordinance authorizing the funding package and contract for the purchase of a fire engine and approving a resolution authorizing reimbursement to the general fund with funds received. Madam City Manager.
I will turn this over to Ms. Horner.
Thank you, Madam City Manager, Mr. Mayor, and Council. Last year, Council approved the purchase of a pumper truck for the fire department, which was much needed. Our fire chief went out and got an excellent deal without us having to wait 2 years, which is about the average time it takes to get a truck. So we were really excited about that. The funding we are getting through the Washington State Treasurer's Office through their program called Local, which provides funds to cities like ours when we need to purchase capital items. They require the ordinance and resolution that I have prepared for you here. So these are items that are required by them for you to pass. You can pass the ordinance and resolution omnibus as one whole thing, I believe, with one motion. But the ordinance basically authorizes the city manager to enter into the agreement with the Washington State Treasurer's Office. And then the resolution authorizes the city to use the general fund to make the initial purchase because the funds won't come from the Treasurer's Office until the end of February. So the truck is coming any day now. We'll pay for it right now out of our general fund, and then the Treasurer's Office, that'll reimburse back to us. And the loan period will be 5 years, and that interest rate won't be established until the Treasurer's Office actually pulls their money. It's looking like rates are sitting at about 2.7% right now. And I'm open for any questions.
Questions for Ms. Horner?
I go on.
Go ahead, Mr. Galan.
This is the fire engine that they've been posting on Facebook recently.
That's correct.
Okay, and then once we start paying the loan back, is it coming out of the enterprise fund or the general fund?
The fire department is funded out of the general fund. So the fire department is made up of fire services and EMS services. EMS is what is an enterprise fund. So anything having to do with, like, when we purchased ambulances at the end of 2023, those come out of that enterprise fund. And those amounts are taken in by the ambulance utility and also cost recovery for people who pay to use the ambulance service. But these funds for the fire truck are not, they are general governmental funds. So these are supported through your property tax and sales tax.
If I can just clarify, just for clarification on that, if you don't mind. So because the enterprise fund is designated EMS, we cannot use any of those funds for suppression activities, including personal protective equipment, apparatus, et cetera. That has to be out of the general fund.
Okay, thank you.
Further questions? Hearing none, what is the desire of council on this item?
Move to adopt the ordinance authorizing the funding package and the contract for the purchase of the fire engine and approving a resolution authorizing reimbursement to the general fund with the funds received.
I second.
All right, we got a motion by Counselor Hart, second by Counselor Galvan. Yeah, since Counselor Hart was nice enough to read the motion, I won't do it again. Debate on this item.
I'm just happy to see this fire engine come in here. I mean, we have some, but they're old and outdated. It's getting hard to get parts for. And I think the fire chief can tell you this is really going to help with our people in businesses mainly and house owners on our insurance in the city of Sunnyside. It will actually help bring them down by having enough apparatuses to put out fires. Thank you.
Other comments?
I just say, Mr. Beeler, if you don't mind, yeah, this is actually will help what's called our WSRB ratings. We actually will bring those down due to replacing the aging apparatus. And just as a kind of a fun factoid, this is actually the first new fire engine that the city of Sunnyside's purchased since 1998.
Yeah, I would just echo that in my 10 years on council. One thing that we have never been able to do is buy those new fire trucks. It's been really difficult to get those funds together, and it's really exciting to see this one coming. I've watched its progression as well as the rest of you have on Facebook, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. I think when it's all finished, I'd sure love to see it out here where we can walk around it at our next council meeting and just sit in it. And I've already promised my grandson when he comes the next time that I'm gonna take him to the fire station. He gets to see our brand new fire truck. So he's all excited about that. So I think that is an awesome place to be. And again, we've got an awful lot of our staff to thank for our financial situation and being so good with our books that we could actually do that when the opportunity presented itself. And we were able to do that. So that is exciting. If there's no more comments, all in favor of the motion as read, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. I too vote aye. Motion carries. Item D, well, 11, 12, and 13, disinfection improvements. Consider authorizing the city manager to authorize. Okay, just consider authorizing the city manager to purchase and upgrade well number 11, 12, and 13 for a new chlorine gas system through TMG services. Madam City Manager.
And I will turn this over to Public Works Director Sanchez.
Mr. Sanchez.
Thank you, Madam City Manager and Council. Today, I bring forward to you the well system that we have here at well 11, 12, and 13. Right now, we have sodium hypochlorite at well 11 that produces the disinfection for well 11, 12, and 13. The system that we have now has quit working. It's older, and it's we want to replace it with chlorine gas. By going to chlorine gas, we would it's a less expensive than the sodium hypochlorite, and it would also save us about $69,000 on the purchase. By going to chlorine gas. Right now it's sodium hypochlorite. We make it and then we transport it to the other wells. This would eliminate that because each well site 11, 12, and 13 would have its own chlorination system there. So it eliminates that need. So what I'm looking for here is to move to authorize the city manager to purchase and upgrade the chlorine system to a gas for through TMG.
If I
Questions?
may, I do have something that I see that's not on the cover sheet that needs to get added.
Go ahead, Ms.
Okay.
Carter.
There's not a budget amendment requested for this amount because the amount budgeted is the $130,000 that was budgeted for the painting of the water tower. Our water fund does not have a lot of money. The fund balance is low. And in order to afford this required upgrade, we did have to take that $130,000 from that water tower for right now. And as we get farther into the year, we can look at the budget, but I just want to make sure council is aware, because I don't see it on the cover sheet here. I think that was just an oversight, that this money is budgeted, but we are moving it from the water tower paint job to this chlorination system.
Okay. Questions for Mr. Sanchez? Mr. Beeler?
How are you chlorinating the water right now on the 3 wells if it's
They're off. Right now, they're down. We're not using those 3 wells.
We're not using the wells.
No,
Is that because the systems are not working?
because the sodium hypochlorite system that was providing the disinfection is not working, therefore we can't take it from there to the other 2 wells. So those 3 wells are down right now. So in order to get these wells, which right now with the wells that we have, we're fine. But when we go to high demand in the summer, we would like to have these 3 wells running so that when we get to high demand, we can use these wells when we need to.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Well 11, you said that it's producing the sodium. It produces it on like the well produces it, and then
We have the equipment there that we can make the sodium hypochlorite there. It's a system. You make a brine, you use salt, you have filters, and you make it there. You store it in the tank, and then you transport it as needed to the other 2 wells.
It's at a lower percentage, right?
Well, it's made at the concentration that you need, and then you take it to the other wells, where then you put it into the other tanks, and then you feed it from there.
Okay.
I have a question, Mr. Sanchez.
Go ahead, Ms. Rosto.
Thank you. A question about the bids. TMG services, how many bids came in, or what other services did you look into? I see that this one's coming from Portland, and I just wonder, being so close to home, if there was anything closer that we can partner with, even if it's in state or if it's just closer to Sunnyside.
Okay, yeah. So TMG is proprietary to the equipment that we have. That's the reason that we're using TMG, because that's who already is the equipment that we have now. It's TMG, and it's proprietary to the chlorine gas system that we use. So that's the reason that we only have TMG, because that's who has the equipment. We don't have. What happens if you start to move out of that, then to when it comes to changing the rest of the wells, we have 8 wells that we run now, and they're using the same system.
Okay, I understand. Yeah, sounds good. This question really comes from, and I think this will probably go into other services that we will have to collaborate with, and I think it's really important to make sure that we partner if we can, so locally, and make sure that we diversify some of these bidders moving forward.
And just to clarify, Ms. Frausto, TMG is in Tacoma on Portland Avenue.
Oh, yes, Tacoma. Thank you for that.
I have another question.
Go ahead, Mr. Gabon.
The other wells, you said they're being serviced and with the same system that 11 and 12 and 13. How's the system running on that one? Are we gonna upgrade that? Do we need to upgrade that here soon, or?
Well, yes, if at some point they need it, but those are running fine. The chlorine system that they have now is fine. These is because they were on sodium hypochlorite that they need to be replaced. In order to get the wells up and running, this would be the route to go, because 1, we already have the other wells on chlorine gas, and 2, it's gonna save us about $69,000 by not going to hypo.
Should we do the other wells as well? I mean, I know as time goes by, everything goes up in price and it seems like a good price right now.
Well, yeah, that's one of the, right now, obviously, our finance director was talking about is obviously budget was an issue as well. So we'd like to get these up and going. Right now, if we were to move forward with this, we would probably have the equipment in by March, installation by April. So obviously that would get us going. Like I was saying, so before we get to high demand, we could have the wells ready to start. We could start, cycling them in with the other ones, but when we get to high demand, we can have that extra, the wells when we do need them.
Okay, thank you.
Further questions? Hearing none, what is the desire of council on this item?
Move to authorize city manager to purchase and upgrade wells 11, 12, and 13 to the new chlorine gas system.
A second.
All right, we got a motion by Ms. Hart, second by Mr. Galvin. Yeah, I can't even talk today. I am tired. Second by Jorge to authorize the city manager to purchase and upgrade for well 11, 12, and 13 to the new chlorine gas system. Is there debate on this item? Hearing none. All in favor of this motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. I too vote aye. Motion passes. Thank you. And I'm sorry, Mr. Galvan, my mind blanked out. I've got to get used to the new names on council and it might take me a day or two.
No worries.
All right, item E. This is a public hearing, utility improvements reimbursement agreement and public hearing. Receive public comment and consider authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with F&M Investments. That means is that we will have a public hearing. We will hear public comment, give public an opportunity to speak. And when we come out of public hearing, then we will have to have a motion to follow on that, okay? There's two steps. I'd like to read the appearance of fairness document. This public hearing is being held to receive public comments and recommendations concerning the SMC 13.24 utility improvements reimbursement agreement. Appearance of fairness disclosures. The concern is that this hearing be fair in form and substance as well as appearance. Council members, do any of you have a conflict of interest concerning this issue? Do any of you stand to gain or lose any financial benefit as a result of the outcome of this hearing? If your answer is yes, please speak now. Council members, can you hear and consider this in a fair and objective manner? If your answer is no, please speak now. Audience members, is there anyone in the audience who objects to my participation or any other council member's participation in these proceedings? If there are objections, please approach the microphone, state your name and city of residence, and state your objection. The time is now 7:53 p.m. Public hearing is now open. City manager will now provide the staff report on this item. Madam City Manager.
I'm going to turn that over to Mr. Martin.
Mr. Martin.
Good evening, City Council. So tonight, I'm going to just be reading a brief summary of the public hearing. The city has received an agreement for reimbursement from F&M Investments LLC for the extension of a water line along West Edison Avenue. F&M Investments is responsible for the approximately 100 single-family home subdivision just to the west of the police station where we are at today. As part of the proposed long plat, the developer is required to serve the site with city use services, including water and sewer. The nearest city water line is located on the east side of parcel 221-026-13012, which is 626 West Edison Ave. This parcel is not a part of the proposed long plat. In order to serve Harvest Valley Estates with water, the applicant or the developer is going to have to extend the water line along West Edison Avenue along parcels that are not part of the long plat. So the developer is requesting to enter into a reimbursement agreement with the city to serve his lot. And that way, if the lots that are not part of this long plat decide to connect to city water services, he is compensated for that connection and extension. So I can answer any questions if you have any.
Okay, well, the next line is any person in the audience wishing to be heard on this matter. And I have one name signed up on the public hearing comment sign up sheet, and that's Mr. Dolan.
Sorry, been a long day for me too. Tom Dolan, I live here in Sunnyside. When I read this, I was curious that number one, I don't have my list with me, but was this SMC, wasn't it repealed? And why is it still an SMC? Isn't it now administrative procedural? No?
No, it
requires
the city to have a public hearing for reimbursement agreements.
Okay, and also, another question I had was, when did this project come before the planning commission? Did I not hear?
The plat went before the planning commission. That was under Mike Shuttleworth.
Oh, really?
This is separate from that.
This is the big one going on up there right now where they're getting ready. How come the water wasn't set up way ahead of time then? That's one of the first things you do is put in your utilities.
Right. So the city, the sewer and water line extensions, they come later with civil. I think the concept was to bring it down West Edison. Again, I don't know. I was under Mike Shuttleworth. I think the concept was to initially bring that water and sewer service down West Edison. There is potentially a second option of, and don't quote me on this because we haven't explored it in depth right now, but to cut across parcel 13612, which would establish a private easement on a private parcel, or public easement on a private parcel. That could be a potential option, but from what I understand, it was to initially bring it down.
That's not Bleasner's.
I'm not sure whose parcel that is.
Oh, I looked at the other one that was on our agenda, but that's not it. We're next door to that.
Yeah, this is for F&M Investments, Martin Velasquez, Harvest Valley Estates.
So would we be looking at that at our next meeting?
This one's
our business.
Once it comes to this council for public hearing, it's not going on from here. This is where council makes the decision.
This is on the extension or on the whole thing?
On the extension, that's all we're talking about right now.
The extension.
Yeah, so you have to work it out with those landowners then. Just a lot of questions popped up because I didn't realize this was happening before Mike was put on there right about the same time that they put me on the planning commission, so.
Well, I know council approved the development because I don't remember the date, but I do remember looking at that and it was in the last.
It was 2021, I believe.
Yeah.
2020, 2021. I don't know the exact.
No, I can't remember the exact date either, but I do remember talking about this and looking at it because I drove down along the street there and kind of looked at it. I remember doing that.
And we haven't approved the final long plat at this point in time. We're still working our way. This is part of it, working our way through civil design of the lot of the plat, but the lots have been previously approved. I can find the date for you, but I don't know off the top of my head.
I may have it. I saved all his stuff.
Any further comments, Mr. Dolan?
Pardon me?
Any further comments?
No, I was just curious about that because why would we be entering into an agreement when it should have been? I would think that it would have already been taken care of. But I can see now by his map that you have more business to do and working out that crossing that property. So no more comments. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right. That's the only name on my list. So council members, any questions or comments on this item?
Something.
Mr. Gabon.
So pretty much just F&M Investments, they're gonna extend the water line, they're gonna pay it out of their own money, and if the neighbors wanna connect to it, they're gonna pay them for the next 15 years.
Correct. Yeah. So yes. So this agreement would have a 15-year standing. So anytime in the next 15 years, if they want to connect, there would be a fee associated with that connection.
It's not fee of paying something for 15 years. They've
No,
got a 15-year window
to attach to it. Anything after that, the city will get the
right.
Do we know what that fee
would be.
Yeah, so it's, if you look at Exhibit B, that's attached to that. I'm sorry, I'm looking at something else at the same time. There's a fee associated with the square footage of the properties that it would be serving. So this is a survey, this is assuming that there are additional developments that take place on the adjacent properties. So if neighbors subdivide and that's kind of what that square footage is assuming. So those would be the fees that would be associated with the connection.
Further questions? Mr. Beeler.
I know when SVID moves lines around, or if you are a property that is next to it, and they usually give you a real good deal to tap in while they're doing it because they've already got it up. Are they going to offer something like that?
I believe that that F&M Investments has approached some of the neighbors and proposed that already. I don't know if anybody has taken him up on that offer, but I know that he has worked with some of his neighbors to try to do that already. I don't think anybody has taken him up on his offer yet.
Now, is everybody else, are these properties on individual wells right now?
Probably, yeah. Okay. They could be a community well. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Further questions or comments? All right, there being no additional comments from public or council, let the record show that this public hearing is now closed and the time is 8:01. All right. So then we have the request, I guess, from our planner to consider authorize the city manager to enter into an agreement with F&M Investments. Mr. Martin, do you have anything else to say about it, or?
Not at this time, no.
Okay.
Good.
Someone? No? Okay. Questions or comments from council on well, I guess what is the desire of council on this item?
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, we've got a motion by Councillor Hart, second by Councillor Beeler to authorize the city manager to enter into an agreement with F&M Investments LLC. Debate on this item. Hearing none. All in favor of this motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. I too vote aye. Motion passes. All right, thank you. Items from council members. The first item up is mayor's appointments for boards and commissions. I know there's are some openings. The deputy mayor and I will be meeting and going over some of these openings so that we can familiarize him with what's been going on and who's been involved and who's applying. And some of the directions that are going on in that area. We do need to have a subcommittee. I know in the past, the mayor would make some decisions and it was decided later on that it would be best if the mayor, the deputy mayor, and one other member of council would be part of that committee to make those recommendations to council. And so, Mr. Gavan, you are already on that committee to recommend and look at that. Do we have another council member who would like to be part of that?
I would like to be part of that.
Ms. Hart, okay, so mayor, deputy mayor, and Miss Hart will be, if there's no objection, I'm sorry. There's no objection to Miss Hart being a part of that? No. Okay, so we will look at openings and talk about that. I do have on my agenda here that it is relatively important that we appoint somebody for a particular position tonight, and that is YVCOG. Yakima Valley Council of Governments has been around for many years. It is a cooperative organization between the cities of Yakima County and the county of Yakima. And we, at this moment, are not represented. And the reason for that is an outgoing council member has been on the YVCOG for quite some time. In fact, he was the chair and wrote an awful lot of the material that they even use today. And that was Mr. Restucci. And we have had conversations among several of us and Mr. Restucci and myself as deputy mayor. And so we do need to get two people. One is a primary and one is an alternate. And then it says here also, we need an executive committee member. Would that be our primary typically? Right. He was always our primary as well, wasn't he? No?
No, because
Councilor Ripley's the primary.
and then you had an alternate.
And an alternate. Okay, that's right, because you had moved up to, because you were the primary for
I
a
was-
while, and
I
then you
was-
moved up. I apologize, Ms. Ripley, I'd forgotten that we moved you up to that. So, I know Ms. Hart enjoyed that. Ms. Ripley, do you want to continue as the primary?
I'll be the alternate if Miss Hart wants to be the primary.
How do you
Yeah.
feel about that, Ms. Hart?
That would, I'm agreeable to that.
Okay. So we'll put. Ms.
Wait, was this a moment for nominations or for volunteering?
Well, yes and no. We've got some experienced members on council who have been attending for a while. And one of the things that's important at the YV-COG is an experienced council member who kind of knows the ropes of how the YV-COG, well, not just the YV-COG, but a lot of the interactions between the community works. I'm open to having a new council member perhaps as the alternate and learning how that works. But the YV-COG is, in my mind anyway, the YV-COG is a very important organization. If you've heard about the Lower Valley Crime Lab or the Aqua Valley Crime Lab, YV-COG is the big player in that. And so and Mr. Restucci was a big force in making that happen. So it's not that I'm trying to say, no, you can't do this, but
Well, I would like to be considered for the alternate.
like to be considered for the alternate as
Yes.
well. Okay. Is there any objection to Ms. Hart being the primary? Ms. Ripley, what is your feeling on that? You've been serving on the YV-COG for a little while now.
I want to continue.
You'd like to continue?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
isn't there another executive committee on that? Isn't there like two different ones?
Well, if I remember
You've been ser-
correctly,
I have not served on YV-COG other than as an alternate, so I'm gonna defer to you, Ms. Hart, on
Okay,
that one,
so-
so.
the thing is that, you're right in the thing that, an executive, and that was Mr. Restucci. He was a chair. So they will reconfigure. Somebody else will be then the chair. It won't be Sunnyside. But Sunnyside has a position, all the communities, the Grandview, Mapton, et cetera, they all have the opportunity to have a delegate to vote on different things like the crime lab and some of the other things YV-COG has done, the design for transportation. And they work with the county commissioners as well. So, so there is, but we're not part of that executive session. I mean, we can move up to it at some point. Right now, what the mayor is suggesting is that we be the delegate and have an alternate delegate to attend. And many times, both the delegate and the alternate attend at the same time because I hear one thing and she hears another. And you know how that goes.
But the primary is the one who votes, and
Yes.
the alternate does not.
Correct. What I would suggest.
Chief Laban, you have.
So I sit on YV-COG, and
That-
Sunnyside does have a spot on the executive board, whether that's the chair or not, they do have a spot because the size of the city.
Thank you.
Then they also have the general delegate membership with an alternate.
Okay, so.
So you would have three total. You would have a board position due to the size of the city. And then you would have your regular delegate and alternate.
All right.
Okay, let me rethink
So
this.
this is what I'm gonna suggest. After tonight's meeting, I would like to meet with Ms. Ripley, Ms. Frausto, and Ms. Hart. And we're gonna talk about this.
Figure that out.
And
Okay? Okay.
because I have to confess, with Mr. Restucci, who has been on the YV-COG for so long, I allowed myself to get a little bit lazy, counting on him to be the one to be on that executive, and it was really easy to do. And as being only human, that was a failure of mine. So I would like to have a conversation with you. And Chief, if you want to be in on that conversation as well, to give your insight as you serve on the YV-COG, you probably have a little bit more insight than I have. Like I said, I served for a little while as the alternate, but it was not for an entire year.
I think that's a really good idea. Cause that gives us a little bit more, and I didn't realize about the executive because of the size of the city. I apologize for.
Yeah, I knew there wasn't
misstating.
something right with the picture, but I'm glad that.
But I'm
Chief
glad Chief
clarified
thought of
so.
that. Thank you.
So let's meet briefly after this meeting. It doesn't have to take terribly long, so. All right, item B, other reports, announcements, and or questions by council. This is where we quite often talk about the things that we've done, the meetings we've attended, some of the events that we've attended on behalf of the city. and or questions that you might have. Mr. Fausto, this would have been a good area where you could have asked your question about your meetings and that sort of stuff, and we could have put that on an agenda at that point. So that's typically where those come up for our new council members who haven't gone through that before. But so I'm going to give everybody a chance to have something. Mr. Beeler.
I got nothing to report.
Okay. Ms. Vasquez.
I actually attended Evaristo Sala's testimony this past Sunday, which was yesterday. Dang, the days go by quick. So I was there and his testimony was very powerful. I think he brings a lot to the table and he's such an inspiration to the youth. And I just look forward to seeing what more he has to offer for our community. And it was really great to be there.
Thank you. Ms. Ripley.
Nothing to report at this time.
Okay, Ms. Fausto.
I have one question and a couple announcements. Question, translating services, Madam City Manager, I know you mentioned that that's in the works. Do we have a timeline?
No, actually, like I said, I want to do it right. And so I think that the best thing is to get some different leaders in the community. And I really want to talk to the school district because I think they are doing it right. And so that's kind of my next step is to find out what they're using, who they're using, and how this goes together. Because really, honestly, I don't want it to be like animal control was where we had to pull the trigger. So I want to do it correctly.
Okay, great. I mean, you can leverage me. I would definitely love to partner in getting the translating services on. I know we have a lot of members in the community sitting in the audience that didn't catch a lot of the information. And I want to make sure that that's not the case moving forward and we get a timeline, in front of us, and get this done sooner than later.
Yeah, I agree. And really honestly, during the campaigning and being at meetings, I could really tell there is a need for that. And it's not only on the Spanish side, it's also for me. A lot of times I can't communicate well with people that don't, my Spanish is terrible. I can understand some things, but I really am not fluent to be in public speaking it, honestly. So I think it is also on the other side. We need to look at both ways so that we can do it. And I know there has to be some fabulous AI out there that'll do it for us, right?
That's dangerous.
And Mr. Russell, you said you had an announcement as well.
Yes, I have a couple of them. So I hope I can make this announcement here. So in my counselor capacity, I've actually blasted this out on Facebook and used and leveraged social media, but I am actually looking for a high school intern to support some of my note taking and researching. Really want to give the opportunity for a high schooler to experience what it is to maybe shadow a council member and really begin bridging that high school to workforce or high school to post-secondary education pipeline. And the information is out there. So if y'all know of any high schooler, if y'all have any kids that are either a junior or a senior, please let them know of this opportunity. When I was in high school, I know many of these opportunities did not come up and, obviously didn't have many people like me or that looked like me or came from similar background experiences like me in these positions. So I want to use my platform to make sure that someone else does. The last, my last announcement, and I really just want to take this opportunity to thank the community members for all of you for showing up, for packing the community center, for them packing this room. I haven't seen it this full since I started attending council meetings back earlier this year. So really it's just an amazing thing to see. And I want to urge you to continue coming in and voicing your concerns, voicing your opinions, and re-engaging back into conversation, because we cannot create or practice effective decision-making without the input of the community and those who are impacted the most, and those who are impacted directly. So I look forward to seeing many of you come back. I look forward to continue the work with my fellow council members and Madam City Manager Jacqueline, and then, all of the department heads. So really looking forward to this year to working in collaboration. And I know we will not agree on many issues, but I think we definitely need to pull a common denominator denominator, and the common denominator is the community and doing things for for the betterment of the community and the community's best interest. So just want to take the opportunity to extend my thank yous. Muchas gracias por llegar aquí y acompañarnos. Yeah, looking forward to what's to come. So I yield the floor.
Mr. Gavin.
I just want to thank the community that came out today, for the swearing in and also for attending the meeting. I know, we want to see a full packed house every meeting. It shows that you guys really care about the community and gives us motivation to continue fighting for you guys. So come to us with questions, whatever you guys have, and department heads too. I met with every single one of you before, during the elections, and I look forward to working with each and one with the city manager too. It's work together. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Hart.
I just want to say during the past month, I did attend the Festival of Trees, not as council member elect, and it was a really wonderful night. And I think that there was a good showing for helping out with the shelter and also the hospital's cancer transportation program funding. So I think that was really done. So that was a good jump out for the animal shelter as far as fundraising. I hope that, and we can now continue with it. I was happy to see tonight that there's people out here who will help with the shelter as far as volunteering and lining up volunteers to walk the animals and that sort of thing. I'm really excited about that. I think that's I hadn't even considered that. I have enough trouble walking my two little dogs. So somebody walking maybe the bigger dogs, that's a good thing. It's a good thing. I just want to say I'm excited to be back on council. It was kind of rough there to be off. I was frustrated a lot, but I'm really happy to be back and eager to get to work. And I'm really excited to work with our new council members. New in as much as that I have a little experience and you guys are gaining experience. So that's why you're new. And it's wonderful to hear what you have to say, what you want to do. And I'm eager to see what we can put into place. And I know that there's, even this beginning with the translation stuff, that to me has been something that has been kind of patchworky, but we're going to do it right. We're going to get it done. And we're going to do it right. So there, again, I'm just excited to be back on council and willing to do just whatever we need to do. And I always want to remember that each one of us is one vote. Our opinion's our opinion. We want to remember that in the end, we want to come together for the best effort to help the community as one. So it's always about for the good of the community. It's not me, it's for the community. So I just want to reiterate on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hart. Now, for my part, I want to echo what some of my colleagues have said. Welcome aboard again to all of you. You've contributed already this evening, and I'm sure that feels good to be a part of what's going on this side of the dais. It's a different world, and I encourage you to continue to be diligent, to keep up and read the material that comes your way. There will be an ever increasing amount, and some of that legal jargon can be a real challenge to understand and make any sense of. No offense, Mr. Riley, but some of that stuff that you guys write is really tough to understand. And if you get to read it at the end of a long day of work, it can be a real challenge, but I encourage you to do so. It goes so much better when we come into our council meetings prepared, having read the material before us. For myself, I want to compliment Ms. Alba and her staff on everything that went on during the whole Christmas holiday, from keeping order, making everything happen as well as it did with the parade, with the kids parade, with all the stuff that went with that, the Festival of Trees. I had a great time with all of that. And it was because you guys did such a good job of organizing it and you put so much time and effort into that. The city decorations, the streets, they looked good. And the trees down there in the square, they were amazing. It was just fun to go by there and see that. A little sad to watch them take it down the other day, but you guys did a good job, and I was really proud of our staff as a result of that, for the work that you guys did. And then also, Chief, I want to thank you for the timely reports on what's going on. I got asked yesterday, hey, what was going on at Walmart? And I'd read your report. I knew I could tell them. And that was kind of nice. So thank you for that. All right. Next item is upcoming council meetings, and I believe that is Mr. Renteria.
The next meeting is January 22nd. On the schedule, you have fee schedule update, personnel policy, and you'll be appointing council members to subcommittees, boards, and commissions. The next workshop is February 5th. Discussion on stormwater rate analysis, water system plan, and I put receiving questions after each agenda item. I'm not sure if that's the workshop you would like to discuss that, or I know you said rules subcommittee.
Well,
They should, go ahead.
go ahead, Ms. Hart.
I'm just thinking that maybe we should take a look at the procedures that we have now before we start changing them. So we understand clearly how the agenda is put together, how comments are made and why council meetings are held the way they are. You know, I'm not saying that there can't be changes and so forth. Absolutely, everything is flexible. But maybe as a subcommittee to look at all of that before we bring it to a workshop. Does that make sense, Mayor?
It does. It would require the rules committee to meet, and we have to fill the rules committee first before we can meet, and that won't come up before the next meeting. I'm going to say let's leave it on the agenda. We don't have to make a decision at the workshop meetings. We don't typically have votes. We don't decide anything, but we certainly can discuss it. And so I think it's good to talk about. The rules committee will meet and we will go into more depth there, and then we'll report back to council through the rules committee. So we can start the process of discussing it. There's nothing wrong with that. So we'll definitely do that. All right. So as you can see, if you've got your screens up, or if you look behind you, there's a section in red there. So for our January 22 meeting, new agenda items are due, please, on the 17th by noon. All right. If you've got an item that you wish to see on the agenda, please make sure that it gets to either the manager or the clerk by that time. For the February 5 workshop, that needs to be into the city hall by the 31st at noon. So that really helps us get the agenda published on time. It's not always possible to make every single deadline, but we do our best. All right. Madam City Manager, items from department heads.
And I'm actually going to defer to department heads first. So we're going to hear tonight from someone that Jameson has brought in. And I will let her do the introductions for her staff.
Thank you, Madam City Manager. Council, this year in the budget, you approved the creation of a position of an HR manager. So we had 2 HR staff, and Lucia Navarro, we've elevated to the HR manager position. She came to us after years with the port, and she's been an absolutely phenomenal addition to our team. And so I wanted to introduce her to you so that you all got to see the face behind the position. And I'm also going to give her the opportunity to report on some of the open positions and the recruitments that the city has going on.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam City Manager and Council. Can you hear me okay? Okay. Tonight I'm here to present to you just a brief summary of the current open positions here at the City of Sunnyside. So the City of Sunnyside has 142 full-time, fully funded positions for the fiscal year 2024. Currently, there is 21 open positions. There are 3 vacancies at City Hall. There are 6 vacancies in the Public Works Department, and there are 9 vacancies in the Police Department with 3 vacancies in the Fire Department. The vacancies at the Fire Department are all actively open for recruitment. So you will see all of those positions open up on our website. They're all currently opened, and we are receiving applications today and moving forward. Police Department has 9 vacancies. All of those are actively open for recruitment. We actually do have a civil service list that was certified last month. And so we are actively working through that list of applicants to move to the next phase of recruitment for the police department positions. For Public Works, those 6 vacancies, 4 of those positions are actively being recruited as we speak. And 2 of those positions, we are actively working on those recruitments, meaning we're working on those job descriptions, on those job announcements, so that once those are completed, we can put those out and actively recruit for those positions as well. The 3 vacancies at City Hall, there are 2 new positions that were approved in the 2024 budget. those recruitments and descriptions and job announcements are currently being worked on, while the other vacancy is a commander position that will be going live this week on the website. So.
Ms. Navarro, I congratulate you on your move and the opportunities I've had to work with you. You've been very efficient and extremely helpful. So I'm sure that will continue in your new position. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Ms. Horner.
I guess I do have more to say. Sorry. Think about that. So the other thing I wanted to discuss with you is just a report on the 2023 financials. We wrapped up, well, technically 2023 is over. The year has wrapped up, but RCW state law does require that we continue to pay invoices up and through the 20th of January every year. And that's just part of cash basis accounting in the state of Washington. So we won't be able to provide an estimated fund balance for the end of 2023 and beginning fund balance for the end of 2024, probably until early February. So just keep that in mind. So for the next meeting, for this meeting, some of those check registers, or actually no, so for the next meeting, sorry, we're in January. Some of the voucher lists of payments that you'll see will be dated for December 31st of 2023, and some of them will be dated for the year 2024. And so that's how you'll be able to tell which expenditures are going against which year. So the ones we have to pay from the previous year are any supplies or services that we actually received during that year, and we receive the invoices by January 20th. We are required to pay those with the 2023 funds. So once we get that wrapped up, then the annual report is always due 150 days after the end of the year. So this year, that's going to fall on May 29th, since it's a leap year. I don't know if anybody knew that. I just found it out today. So we will start working on that as soon as we get 2023 closed out. And we're always available in the finance office if you guys have questions on budget issues or expenditures or the purchasing policy, or any of the processes we go through for any of that. So by all means, reach out to us.
Chief Lehman.
Just real quick, last year we handled 9,138 incidents at the police department. I try to go through this at every meeting. So year to date, burglaries and breaking and entering, we're down 50%, but that's 2 last year and 1 this year. So we're not, too off here. Motor vehicle thefts, we're up 100%, 1 last year, 2 this year. And we're talking about in year to date for the year. And simple assaults are down 25%, but that just gives you a basis. But as the year goes on, you'll be able to see where we're at versus previous years. So any questions?
Questions for the chief?
No, but I do want to reiterate on the fact that we really appreciate when you notify the leadership team about what's going on and what's happening. It's because we get hit up for bombarded by where are the lights on, what are we doing, that kind of thing. So thank you very much for keeping those out.
You're welcome.
It helps us as well.
All right. Thank you.
Mr. Sanchez.
Thank you, Madam City Manager, Council. Tonight, I will give you a couple updates for the new members. So we had a lighting project that we started about 1.5 years, 2 years ago. And, we went through the process and we ended up running into where supplies were hard to get. So we've been waiting. And so in a lot of the buildings, we've been kind of half in the dark until thinking that this project was finally going to start. Well, it finally did. So they started today. They started at City Hall, replacing some of the lighting, and they'll be working through the rest of the city buildings that are part of this project. The RCO project at Central Park, that one also started last Friday. So we started already, the contractor came in and started taking some of the limbs off the trees that are part of this project. And so hopefully that'll get done soon, and then we can move over into the painting of the pool house after that. We're still working on bids for that one. So with that, if you have any questions.
Questions? No. Thank you, Mr. Sanchez.
Mr. Martin.
I have a couple of things for council tonight. So for starting this year, the Washington Department of Commerce is giving all cities within Washington a certain amount of money to update and create what they're calling a climate resiliency component to the comprehensive plan. We're one of those cities. We're receiving $125,000 to work with the Department of Commerce and put this together. Part of that climate resiliency plan, it's about a 2-year process. It's going to be wrapping in with our comp plan update, which is going to be starting pretty well in my world pretty soon here. We're going to start talking about timelines and everything this summer for our comp plan. But the climate element, that's basically beginning this month. So I have another little thing that I'm surprising Jackie with, but I'll work with her to kind of put this together. Part of that climate resiliency element is to put together a subcommittee of city representatives. This is a subcommittee that'll have neighborhood meetings. We'll meet periodically throughout this 2-year process and putting together this plan and working how we're going to wrap it into our comp plan update when that comes in. So part of that package will be putting together a policy subcommittee that will be part of this climate element. That being said, our comp plan is also that's going to basically be kicking off this year as well. We're going to have to start working with the Department of Commerce to start putting together all of our paperwork for our comprehensive plan update. That's going to be starting in January, I believe January 2025, to be wrapped up by June 2026. Same with the climate element is end of June 2026. And at the same time, we have just started to launch our economic development plan because these things all kind of make sense to coincide. That one is going to be done mostly in-house with our Community and Economic Development Commission. And we're going to be holding meetings with that. Our first meeting that we're going to be holding 2 meetings to talk about some strengths and weaknesses in the city of Sunnyside. We're going to be doing that on February 6th and February 20th. I'll be send all this out in some updates to you. So I know I'm going over this a little bit quickly. The February 6th meeting, per request of the community members of the community and public attendance of our Community and Economic Development Commission, will have a English session on February 6th and a Spanish session on February 20th. Let's see, after that, we are working right now to get one of those open job positions is a fire marshal position. I'm working with human resources right now to kind of get that position updated. I told the previous council, but now we have new council members. So prior to the fire marshal beginning, I will be sending out a notice to businesses and in the Sun that we do have a fire marshal on board. We will be resuming commercial inspections. They've kind of been offline for a little bit recently, last couple of years. We will be resuming that. So that's really, really good in my book. And then periodically at the end of every month, I will be bringing code enforcement stats and building permit stats to the council, reporting on those. So at our next meeting, I'll have some more on that information.
Mr. Riley?
Anybody have questions for Mr. Riley?
No.
Thank you, sir.
Chief Hybuck.
Good evening, everyone. Just as Chief Lehman does, to kind of provide some basic statistics from the fire department. So as we wrapped up 2023, we were pretty well, I don't want to use the word average because, we're not average, right? But call volume, we responded to 4,327 emergency calls for service in all of our response areas, which again is pretty par for our agency. But and existing council and those who have been in attendance have heard me really preach this. But one thing that, again, I'm incredibly excited and proud of my agency is what was far beyond exceeded average this last year was our number of training hours. At the end of 2023, cumulatively, all of our staff contributed to 3,231 training hours, which is phenomenal. And just to put that into perspective, that is a 460% growth from our prior year. So very excited about that. Two other items I had already had, just due to the order of the agenda, the spoiler alert already kind of came out. So being the new pumper arriving, so we're very excited for that. We expect it to come into Yakima actually within the next day or two. I kind of thought it'd be here today, but it didn't. So we expect the next couple of days. At that point, Cascade Fire, who we did purchase the apparatus from, will be installing the radio systems, graphics, decals, so on and so forth. So we're hoping to have it here in the city in service around March 1. So we'll definitely make that announcement when it happens. And then our new ambulance, as we've spoken on multiple times previously, should be arriving right about the same time. So we're going to have a new face here pretty soon. So we're pretty excited. So unless you have any questions. Question for the chief.
I don't have any questions, but it's in a sort of maybe off topic, but the front of the fire station decorations for the holidays, those were really cute and really, I like the historic aspect that you brought into that. That was, I don't know who took care of it for you, or did you assign it, but it was tell that person or group.
It was a group effort, most definitely.
And it was really A-OK. That was nice. I like that.
We don't use the word cute in the fire service, but I know what you're talking about, you know, so.
It was very nice. We'll put it that way.
Thank you very much. No, we appreciate that. We had a lot of fun with it.
City Clerk, Renteria?
I just wanted to clarify what Mayor said. There are no vacancies on our commissions. There are some that are they've met their term dates already. So also the YVCOG Executive Committee meets on January 17th, which is their first one. Are you sure you don't want to appoint somebody?
We will before we leave tonight. How's that? Give me 5 minutes with these folks and we'll get it done.
Okay, that way you don't miss.
Yeah, no, we need representation there. So we will get that.
You excuse me, you said they meet on January 17th?
Yes, that's what she said.
Okay. Just want to clarify that.
Well, and I want to express my gratefulness to our new council members and our former councilor, you know, people that have been on here before. You guys are my new team, and I hope that anytime you have questions, you're willing to reach out. If I don't know the answer, I may talk to Ben, I may talk to one of my staff. But know that I'm here for you. You can call me, tell me, hey, I need to know this answer. And then one of the things that we've encouraged in the past is when you have questions on the financial matters that are for Jameson, if you could just give her a quick email before the meeting so that she's prepared with an answer, because obviously we have a lot of transactions. So if you can just shoot her a quick email that says, hey, I'm going to be asking about these things, it helps us a lot. So, and with that, I will say I'm excited for a new year. I think we are going to do some great things for the city. And I am so pleased that there are people in the audience today that stayed for the entire meeting. That is rare. And I do want to encourage everyone, if you have a question, reach out to me. And I'm serious. I will do every effort I can to try to answer your question or your email or whatever method you choose to communicate with me. And I am very much committed to getting Spanish in our council meetings. So I will definitely be getting a hold of you.
Great.
All right.
Thank you. I have a quick question.
Sure.
How do we turn up the heat in this place? I've been freezing the entire time. I am so ready to leave.
So I'll tell you why we keep it this cold. Because the court proceedings get very, very big in here and they are packed and it's hot. If you could speak to that.
It's a little inhumane, if you ask me.
So you don't feel bad. I've been sitting here with my hands freezing too. So it's contagious.
You see me fiddling all the time. That's part of it too.
Yeah, it's cool.
All right, well, thank you, everyone. And I do want to echo what the manager said. I'm excited about the upcoming year. I'm excited about seeing what this council is going to do and how we're going to handle the situations that are presented to us. I want to thank the audience members as well for staying throughout the entire meeting. Gracias por quedarse durante toda la reunión. Yo sé que algunos de ustedes no podían quizás entender exactamente lo que estaba pasando siempre, pero siempre estamos aquí a sus órdenes. Our contact information is on the website, the city website, if you need to talk to any of us. Our email is there. I'm pretty sure my phone number is there. If you need to talk, if you need to contact any of us. We are your public officials, which means you voted us in. We work for you. So we at least will listen to you. You may not agree with the answers you get. We may not know the answers immediately and we'll have to talk to the manager, but we will do our best. And if I am in town and there is an event happening where you need a mayor that speaks Spanish, I will be more than happy to attend. So, all right. There being no further business to come before council and without objection,